I played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for 50 hours, and here is what happened. We discovered a lot of interesting Pokemon, found legendaries, and uncovered all the secrets of the Paldea region. Let's go. We enroll into the academy, and also this guy in the intro looks like Einstein for some reason. We witness a giant furball crashing into the ground. Also make sure to press L for our legs, who are going to be suffering this whole game. Also, our mom looks pretty high definition, not gonna lie. The sketchy director is here, and for some reason he calls me a master. We equip some of the most finest drip, and then it's time to roll. We get shown the starters of this game, a weed cat, a fire croc, and a very sassy duck. And of course, we can't forget our trusted Rotom phone. Hello there, rival Lady Nimona, who's gonna pester me throughout the whole game for non-stop battles. Then we get to choose our starter, and I'm wondering, should I take the weed cat? Yes. We switch into some finer drip, and now it's time to battle Nimona. However, the director interrupts us, and instead we head over to the Poké Path, where we're going to discover our first battle against this random Lechonk. We suplex the shit out of the piggy with a Leaf Age, and then we get ourselves our first victory. We get ourselves free 10 Pokeballs, and now it's time to find ourselves our first catch. We found a cute little fletchling that I decided to capture because I would love to have a little fire type on our team since we don't have Fuecoco. His name is Fletchburb, and I love him. Itsy bitsy spider, oh shit. We head to the lighthouse to meet up with Nimona before we find this random cliff and fall down it.
Okay. Did I just fall down a cliff?
We sure did, but we are saved by our trusted Rotom phone. A bunch of Houndours get scared away by a giant furball.
Hello there, strange Pokemon that I totally do not know the name of. How you doing today?
I offer the giant furball a sandwich as a peace offering. He gobbles down that thing faster than I gobble down certain things. The furball goes all Super Saiyan on me and gives me one of those see you later kid looks. Then we follow him inside of this cave, and inside of here we run into an army of Houndours who are going to be whipping our ass, but we get saved by the giant furball. Then he tucks us in between his arms and gets us out of the cave. We go to the lighthouse and discover Arvin, a new rival. Also, the son of the professor of this game, Professor Sada. And he's also the person who owns the Koraidon that we have been hanging out with. Arvin gets frustrated and demands a battle against us for leaving a bad taste in his mouth. So we're going to be giving him a bitter taste in his mouth. But here we go. He's got himself a Squavit, which we easily defeat using Bite on our Sprigatito. We then receive Koraidon's Pokeball, so now he's sort of ours. Yes and no, but nonetheless, Koraidon is ours now. We climb on top of the tower here and look around the whole map, and now it's time to head over towards Mesagoza, the big city. We take on our first trainer battle against this little youngster and his Tarantula, which we defeat in no time. We also find ourselves Palmy, a brand new Pokemon that we decide to add to our team. We auto battle our way through a mountain of Pokemon using the Let's Go feature, and we add a Fido to our team as well before we reach the brand new Pokemon centers, which look actually pretty incredible. We buy ourselves an ice cream because these can be used in the game to give yourself a boost. We itch our way closer to Mesagoza by heading up this route, and we also capture the Shroodle and nickname it Nut. Then we battle Iker here, who is a delivery man with a cute rookie team and also a really nice chest, because I mean, this guy's fucking buff. We talk to the Paldean League rep right here, who tells us if we defeat 4 trainers in this route, he will give us a prize, so we receive a free Thunder Wave. And oh shit, boys, we have reached Mesagoza, the largest city in the region, but also we've got to battle Nimona before we can enter the city itself. So let's cue on our first rival battle against Nimona. And so she's going to be using Quaxly, the weak starter, to us, and well, we do have our boy Fletchburb, but I make sure to switch Fletchburb into our boy Sprigatito because Sprigatito is going to be much stronger in this scenario as it is a grass type. So Leaf Age it is, and this more or less is a one hit at this point as the Quaxly was already low from a previous spec from our boy Fletchburb. So, what is the other Pokemon Nimona has? Well, it's going to be a Palmy. Now, Palmy is not that difficult to defeat. We go for Leaf Age once again here. But before we can do that, Nimona actually terrestrializes, which is a brand new feature of this game, which powers up all your moves of a specific type because every Pokemon has a different Terra type. So this thing, it looks like it has itself a electric Terra type in this case, which makes sense because of its regular typing. So it's going to be super effective with any electric type moves. Our Leaf Age does about half of its HP, but we're going to keep spamming and eventually we get the victory. Then we enter Mesagoza, the biggest city in the game, but also one of the largest cities I think there's ever been in a Pokemon game. It's massive, it's sprawling with people and students, of course, and this is where Naranja Academy, the place we're going to be going to school to, is actually located. So it's time to explore. And of course, this game has loads of sandwich shops. There is literally more sandwich shops in this game than there are subways in the world. We buy ourselves a brand new beanie because I want to look like a hipster. We step in and stop a potential case of bullying, and then battle the brand new team of this game, Team Star, and one of their grunts. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like the helmets. They look a little bit too goofy for my taste. Either way, Shroodle is what they're gonna be using in this battle, and we're gonna be destroying it with no hesitation whatsoever, because we do have Fletchburb on our team. Afterwards, Nimona hands us the Terra Orb, which is what we need to actually terrestrialize our Pokemon. So, Fletchburb is going to be our first Pokemon to terrestrialize against this grunt using a Yungoos. Afterwards, we head over to the Naranja Academy to enter the giant building and start our academy journey. We go to our first class, which is with Mr. Jacques. Then we go and talk to Arvin, who begins us on our Path of Legends journey. Now, this is one of 3 different journeys you can take in the game. You got to do all of them to complete the full game. So, on our way to leave the room, we actually get a call from someone called Cassiopeia. This person has hacked our phone, and they are going to be putting us on another journey as well. And then finally, there is the Victory Road journey we got to take, which is, of course, going to be with our rival Nemona. This one just has us going around the map and defeating 8 different gyms to be able to take on the Pokemon League to become a champion-ranked trainer. And we get called to the director's office, where we get to interact with Professor Sada, the actual professor of this game. Now, she tells us all about Koraidon and teaches us that we can actually ride on Koraidon if we go outside with it and if we earn its trust. Then we go to our dorm room and sleep for about 6 months before it's time for the treasure hunt to begin. The journey where we set out into the world of Paldea to discover all the things it has to offer. And now we're free to explore the open world of this game on top of our boy Koraidon. So we head towards the west, where we encounter a few Mareep that we add to our team, and we have the freedom to explore the region as much as we want to and as freely as we want to, so we're going to be heading to one of the closest gyms right away. But before any of that, we find one of these towers that you can climb on top of to look over the region, and up here we find ourselves a Gimmighoul, one of the new Pokemon in the game that you need to capture or defeat multiple of to get the evolution of it. So yes, you need about 999 coins to be able to get this, so you're going to have to go and find multiple Gimmighouls, which can always be found on these towers. We also run into our first wild Terra Pokemon, specifically this Diglett right here. Now, these things have to be reduced in HP to break their transformation, and then you're able to capture them. And then we reach the first new area, Cortondo, and also the Southern Province. In this area, you can find yourself quite a few different varieties of Pokemon, but also we run into a Vespiquen. And yes, it is a high-level Vespiquen, but I decided to capture it and add it to our team, which was very difficult, if I'm going to be frankly honest with you guys.
Let's go, boys. Let's go. Let's see if we can catch this thing.
Yes. Yes.
Yes! Oh my god, we got a Vespiquen! Holy shit! Let's go!
And now it's time to take on the first gym of the game. But before we can take on the gym leader himself, we actually have to do a gym test. And in this case, we have to roll a giant olive into this goal right here. And after doing that, we're now able to take on the first gym leader. And now it's time to take on KATY, the gym leader of this bug-type gym in Cortondo. She starts off with Nimble, a brand new Pokemon based on a grasshopper. This thing is actually adorable, and its evolution literally looks like something out of Chainsaw Man. Luckily, though, we do have Fletchburb on our team, and since we have Peck, we can easily get rid of the Nimble. Tarantula is the next Pokemon that KATY is going to be using, and since we still have Peck, we can keep pecking on this thing all the way till its death. Now, KATY seems to be a bit pissed off, and, well, it's because she only has 1 Pokemon left, and she doesn't want to give away a free badge, so she's going to be using a Teddy Urza, which, I'm gonna be honest, I was not expecting. It was the least expected thing I could have seen in this case, but the reason why she's using a Teddy Urza is because she can terrestrialize it into a bug type, even though, you know, it's not a bug type. She destroys our Sprigatito with the Teddy Urza, so we have to switch into Vespiquen. Unluckily, though, we are not strong enough yet to be able to control Vespiquen, but after a lot of ifs and buts and tries, we do get the hits off, and we get the victory. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we received our first badge on the Victory Road. Now, it's time to go get our second one, or perhaps find some legendaries. Before we leave the gym, we get a call from Nemona demanding a battle and also congratulating us on the victory. And then we go into the wild. And here, I notice on the map that there is the pre-evolution of Cerulege, as well as Armorobe, but I can't seem to figure out exactly where it is, as it seems to be a rare spawn. So I run around, I run into a few Mankeys and a bunch of other Pokemon as well around here, while trying to figure out where this thing is. And instead, I end up finding this literal Minecraft block in the game, which is something special. We also battle Elena here, who looks way too old to be a student. I mean, seriously, she does not fit that outfit. But nonetheless, though, ladies and gentlemen, we take on her little Mareep and defeat it. After defeating that, we then head around and just explore more of the map around here. And eventually, we find Nimble, who we make sure to capture and add into our team and nickname into Pochita. We run into a lady that decides to heal our team, which is really appreciated, as she's also showing us how camping works. We make it to this area from the trailer of the game, the original trailer from back in February. And we also discover that this is where one of the legends is actually located at. So we gotta help out Arvin, and we're getting literal giant boulders like something out of Indiana Jones dropped onto us as we're trying to make it up this hill.
Oh my lord, what the fuck is this, bro? What is this? Oh my god, no!
Well, it turns out at the top, we discover the Bombardier Open Sky Titan. Now, this is one of the Titan Pokemon that you have to defeat to be able to actually unlock other parts of the game and to also keep the Legends Path story going, and that's exactly what we do. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this thing is very difficult. It destroys our boy Pochita, but also destroys most of our team. However, we're able to get his health down such a large amount that actually we get help from Arvin, who shows up and helps us defeat this Bombardier, and eventually, ladies and gentlemen, we take it out. And once it's been defeated, after eating a little bit of its own Herba Mystica, we actually steal its Herba Mystica, and guess what? We actually then get a sandwich made out of the Herba Mystica from Arvin, and we give it to our boy Koraidon. And after doing this, Koraidon actually unlocks another one of its abilities, this time the ability to surf on water. So now we can do that. Before anything, we actually find a Lokix, which is the evolution of our boy Nimble, and this one is a Terra type one. So we battle it, and we defeat it, and we capture it. We then make it to a desert, and here we discover in the distance that there is a giant Paradox Pokemon, or an ancient Pokemon. It looks oddly similar to a Donphan. Now, we are not strong enough to actually defeat it, but there it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is massive. Then we look to go towards Porto Marinada, which is a new city that's close to us. And along the way, we also battle a Paldean Tauros, which unfortunately is much stronger than us, so we do run away from it. I try to take on and battle the giant Great Tusk Titan, but we end up actually failing in this. And to make myself feel slightly better, I catch myself a Cyclizar for fun instead. And amongst the ruins, we discover a brand new Pokemon. This thing is just carrying a giant hammer, and it's known as Tinkertuff. We actually end up capturing one because why not? And so we have arrived to Cascarafa, which is another city, and this one is the location of the water-type gym. So it's time to take that on too. I find a muscle band, and this girl right here actually wants to trade me a Wooper. Specifically, she wants a Paldean Wooper in exchange for a regular Wooper. So if you want to get that, now you know how. Now, at the actual gym itself, it looks like the gym leader is not really in the mood to fight, so he just runs away. And guess what? His name is Kofu, and we gotta go and give him his wallet, because that's what he ended up forgetting before going to the fish market. Now, the fish market is actually located at Porto Marinada, which is a location we've already been at, so we just take a flying taxi there, and we find him. But before we can actually give him the wallet back, one of his grunts, or one of his trainers at his gym, actually challenged us to a battle, and so we gotta defeat him first. He's got himself a Buizel, so that's gonna be a bit difficult, but we do have our boy right here, Lokix, and we're gonna go for the reversal move. And we also did Terrestrialize, and we do have a fighting type Terrestrialization, but we don't really do a lot of damage. So at the side, okay, well, the Terrestrializing isn't really working. Let's just go for Lunge. So along the way, our Spiritomb actually evolved into Floragato, and in this case, it's the strongest Pokemon to use against this Clauncher, but it still doesn't do enough damage to the point where we can instantly one-hit KO it. And so, after defeating him, ladies and gentlemen, we're now able to interact with Kofu. We give him back his wallet, and he also wants us to go and be part of this auction to win one of these special spices from the Hoenn region. Yes, it's a special spice specifically from Hoenn. And so it gives us a nice 50k to go into this auction with to try to win the highest bids.
All right, it's bidding time, boys. It's bidding time. It's auction time. 50 over here. 50 over here. Let's go. Come on.
So I ended up dropping a bunch of different bids, 30k at one point, and eventually I end up going for 45k, and that's where we end up winning the actual bid. Time to take on Kofu, big man with the water types. Now, Kofu's team is something that I haven't seen before. It's a Veluza, brand new Pokemon, and this thing is, of course, water type, so we're going to be able to take it out with the help of our boy Lokix using simply Lunge, and after doing that multiple times, the Veluza is gone. Then we see Wugtrio. Wugtrio is the evolution of Wiglet, which is a brand new Pokemon in this game. However, after using Lunge on it twice, we defeat it. So finally, we have to use a Floragato, which is going to be, well, Terrestrialize in this case against a Terrestrialize, Carbonimal, whatever you call it. Either way, it ends up dying eventually, so we have to switch into Palmy, who uses Electro Ball, and that defeats him, and we got ourselves our second gym badge. But before we leave the gym, we run into Hassel. Now, Hassel is actually one of the Elite Four members, and he's introducing himself to us before we actually go any further. I like your cut, G. So yeah, we got ourselves a brand new trim. Now it's time to go get ourselves the normal type gym badge from Medali. Now, the Medali gym, I'm going to be honest, ended up being a really difficult one, but we'll talk about that once we get there. First of all, we get a message from Cassiopeia. She's telling us that we've reached one of the bases owned by Team Star, and what we got to do is enter the base, raid it, and then defeat the boss. Once the boss is defeated, that part of the team, that specific group, is going to disband. All of a sudden, this person shows up. He calls himself Clive, but I'm gonna be honest, he looks oddly similar to someone else. I wonder who. Now, Clive offers us some help, and now it's time to take on one of the first bases. This specific one has a squad boss that we need to defeat. Now, before we can actually enter the base itself, we need to defeat one of these grunts who are blocking the entrance. And after we've slapped them around, then we can take on the base itself. Now, before the timer runs out, we have to spend the next 10 minutes defeating 30 Pokemon inside of here. But we can use the auto battle feature and set out 3 Pokemon at the same time to defeat the enemy grunt Pokemon. And after doing this for a while, we actually do it in under 10 minutes, obviously. But after doing this for a while, we're now done with that part of the challenge. Now we got to take on the actual boss of this base. And the boss of this base is going to be none else than Giacomo. So he is the Dark Crew boss leader, and we got to defeat him first. So he starts off with a Poniard, and we're going to be using Reversal on our low kicks, which does more than half of its HP in the first hit, and the second hit we defeated. Next up, though, he has Revavroom. Now, Revavroom is a brand new Pokemon. It's also a modified Revavroom. They specifically put like a bunch of gadgets and stuff on it, and after we spam it multiple times with lunge using low kicks, we eventually defeat it, and we also defeat Giacomo. And he's then reminiscing about how the bosses, all the evil bosses of the team, were actually meeting in the past. And eventually, he gives us the badge, and we've defeated the first boss of this game. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And now we're going to head out and find more of these guys to, well, dismantle the organization. For the next 2 hours, we go around exploring. I try to take on Great Tusk again, but it doesn't really work out. So we skip that instead and go into some caves. We find a bunch of Pokemon, as well as a brand new Pokemon to our team, which is going to be Gabite. After another hour of gameplay, we finally reach Medali Gym after I've just explored, done some leveling, and just a little bit of everything. This game is very massive, so there's a lot of things to do before you actually get to different cities. So after we reach it, we now can take on the next gym test. Now, this one is actually very difficult, but before we do that gym test, we actually have to battle Nemona. Yes, she really wants to battle us, so we're going to be doing exactly that. Now, her first Pokemon is going to be a Rockruff, which is a brand new Pokemon that we hadn't seen her use before. So we just use our Gabite with Bulldoze, and that is a one-hit KO right off the bat. Now, the next Pokemon is going to be Pommy, which we already saw her use before. So Floragato is going to be coming out with Seed Bomb, which is a one-hit KO as well, leaving the last Pokemon, well, you guys already know which one it is. It is Quaxwell, the evolution of Quaxley, and she terrestrializes this one right off the bat. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's not a problem. We one-hit KO it with Floragato. And after this, it's time to go back into the gym. We got to go to 3 different characters in this, well, city and talk to them. And if we defeat them, they will give us a hint. And then using those hints, we need to figure out a dish inside of this gym. So yeah, it's a bit complicated to be, honest with you guys. But after battling all of them, we figure out that we have to make a dish that requires lemons as well as some other stuff. And it's very complicated, but eventually we get it right. And now we can take on Larry. Now, Larry is the normal type gym leader. And I'm going to be honest, Larry is very difficult. So difficult that we actually lose against him. I don't actually end up winning. This is a battle that I cannot win just yet. So we're going to leave this battle in this gym for now. We'll return to Medali later. But first, we got to go and take on somebody a bit easier for now. So we shift our focus over to the eastern part of the map, the areas where we have yet to explore, and that's exactly where we'll find our next challenge. But before any of that, we actually run into our first Terra raid, and we end up taking it on against a Bounsweet. After defeating the Bounsweet, we climb this tower and find another Gimmighoul, which will give us another 50 coins if we defeat it. And so we've now reached our second Titan that we will be battling, and this is going to be Cloth. Now, this giant Cloth also has a Herba Mystica hidden away, so we got to make sure we defeat it. After a lot of battling against it, we do get its HP down, and it has to go and use the Herba Mystica to boost itself. But as usual, Arvin is here to help us out, and after a bit of struggle, we get the victory. Arvin then makes us another sandwich using the Herba Mystica, and our boy Koraidon eats the sandwich and gains a new ability. This time it's the ability to actually dash, which will make us much quicker when moving around the map. We also then learn why Arvin is even looking for the Herba Mystica, and it's specifically to save his little buddy. Now, Mabustiff is a brand new Pokemon, which is a dark type dog, and unfortunately his partner Pokemon here is a little bit sick, so that's why he's specifically looking for the Herba Mystica. After loads of grinding, the next area that we're headed to is where the grass type gym is located to be able to get ourselves another gym badge. So far we have 2 badges, but we need that third one already. Now that we're at the gym location, we gotta do the gym test, and in this case we gotta go hunting for a bunch of Sunflora, which is exactly what we do. After you find 10 of these guys, it's time to take on the newest gym leader, which is going to be the grass type one. Now this guy is a total badass who jumps off of a windmill to go right into battle with us. Now this is Brassius, and he kicks off with a Patilli lead that we actually end up more or less destroying with a single lunge. And same thing goes for his Smoliv, leaving the only Pokemon left, this Sudowoodo. And he's going to be, of course, terrestrializing this one and giving the Sudowoodo the dream it's always had, which is to become a grass type. However, that's not enough to defeat us, and we end up destroying the Sudowoodo as well, giving us our third gym badge. Back inside the gym building, we run into this strange lady that's known as Geta, and she seems to be very interested in our gym journey for some reason. We also quickly go back to the academy to do some battle studies, which just teaches us some basic stuff, and at the end we get a reward if we do enough of the studies themselves. After quite a bit of exploring, we go back and try to take on a different squad. So Cassiopeia is with us again, and of course Clive, the strange guy who seems to be very familiar to us, is also with us here, and it's time to take on the Fire Squad. We destroyed the Grunt, and then we entered the base and do another one of our raids, and this again isn't really too difficult. We destroy the 30 Pokemon, and now it's time to take on the squad leader of the Fire Squad. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the Fire Squad team leader. It's going to be none else than Mela. Now, Mela's got fire Pokemon, so this shouldn't be too difficult for us. We use Gabite to take out her first Pokemon, which is going to be the Torkoal, which we just do after using Bulldoze multiple times. And her final Pokemon is also going to be Revavroom. This is the Shadar Starmobile. So yeah, it's a Revavroom that's been modified into this thing. And after a few hits, we also defeat this one, and that means we defeated the Fire Squad and taken out their boss. So that leaves another 3 squads that need to be defeated. After leaving the base, we then run into Penny, who gives us some free rewards for doing a good job. Next, we go exploring a bit and catch ourselves a nice little Magikarp. And guess what? We're in a new city, and this one is the one of the location of that really annoying streamer girl in the game. It's going to be Iono. So yeah, we're going to take her on, but before we can take her on, we have to do her gym test. So what does this go out on? Well, we got to go and find the professor or the director. We're going to find him in this kind of Where is Waldo image type game, battle one of her like fans, and after doing that twice, we can now battle Iono herself. So now the Shark Girl is ready to battle us. We have to take on her team of electric types, and I'm gonna be honest, we don't really have the weakest or strongest team against her, but we'll do our best. Now, the first Pokemon is going to be Wattrel, a brand new one, and it's part of our team because it does have the electric typing seemingly, and we use Lunge on our boy Lokix. And I'm going to be honest, Lokix is definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite Pokemon from this generation. It's just such a badass design, but we lunge it twice and Wattrel is gone, leaving her with a few more Pokemon. Next up is gonna be the thick boy himself. Bellybolt is right in front of us, but we are far more over-leveled than it, which is of course the thing with this game. Since you can take on gyms in really any order and stuff like that, it means that sometimes the gyms, since they don't scale, will be much lower than your actual levels on your Pokemon. So in this scenario, we are much stronger than her team, and we're also stronger than her lovely little Bellybolt. So a second lunge from Lokix is more than enough to defeat this thing. We lunge on top of her Luxio as well, which is her penultimate Pokemon, leaving only one left in her team now. And it's going to be a Miss Magius, which is not what I expected, but it can terrestrialize into an electric type, so that's exactly what it does. But once again, we do have our boys on our side that can defend us and keep us alive. In this case, she goes for a Hex on top of our Lokix. We go for Lunge, and Lunge does so much damage and also lowers her attack, so it is a perfect combo. However, we do not have a lot of HP left, and if we try to go for Lunge here, we most likely will be outsped. So we hand it over to our friend Floragato with the Seed Bomb, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We have received another gym badge, which puts us at about 4 gym badges now, halfway through the Victory Road Path. We explore around these random caves and take on a few challenges, as well as finding some new Pokemon. All of a sudden, we get a call from Arvin, who tells us there is a lurking Steel Titan in the area, so it's time to go take it on. Before that, we take on this thick Hariyama and also climb another tower, and then it's time to take on the Steel Titan. And I'm not gonna lie, but this thing is one of the weirdest Pokemon designs I've ever actually witnessed. It is a steel worm, and it looks so freaking goofy. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, we do take it on, and we use our boy Lokix. So we go for a few different moves here, and eventually we do defeat it, and it goes and hides in a different area. So we head over there, and of course we get our usual help in this case to take it on. With the help of Arvin, we demolish the Earthworm and also the lurking Steel Titan, and now we can go and steal some of that Herba Mystica that it was using and give it to our good old friend Koraidon. And after doing this, we gain the ability now to actually jump much higher using Koraidon, which will come in handy if we want to reach certain locations that we couldn't reach previously. And ladies and gentlemen, after 25 hours, we've now taken out 4 Victory Road gym leaders, 2 of the Starfall Street gangs, as well as 3 of the legends on the Path of Legends, which means we only have about half the game left, and then we've completed this journey. We look out over the horizon for all the journeys that still await us in this region of Paldea, and then we head out to the next location. We find a few Pawniards as well as a Flamigo, which is a brand new Pokemon in this area, and then we go and take on the next challenge. Well, before we do that, of course, we also gotta catch ourselves a few new Pokemon, and we're entering a new area we've yet to been to. We're getting closer to the mountains. As you can notice, there is snow around us, but we also find a Go-Goat that needs to get some damage done to it. We also capture a Wild Terra type Sneasel, and we add that to our team after a very fierce battle. And guess what? Our friend Floragato is about to evolve into Meowscarada, the final stage evolution of Sprigatito, which actually looks pretty awesome in this case, if I'm going to be honest. We also get the brand new, seemingly signature move of Meowscarada, known as Flower Trick as well. We find a Charcadet, which I end up actually accidentally killing in this case, which wasn't really the plan because these things are a bit more rare, and we're in the close proximity now of one of the evil team bases. However, before doing any of that, we're gonna actually head back and take on the Great Tusk Titan. Now, this is one that we tried earlier, but we weren't strong enough to defeat it, but this time around, we should have the power to take it on. So, with our terrestrialized Meowscarada using Flower Trick, we do a lot of damage. Enough damage, actually, to take it out in only about 3 hits. And after doing this, Arvin pops in again to help us out, and then we're able to defeat the Great Tusk. And guess what? We get ourselves a bit more of Herba Mystica that we can use to, of course, upgrade our little friend Koraidon. And now we have the ability to glide around the map as much as we want to, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we can glide as much as we want to. And since we are now strong enough, I think it's about time we go and take on Larry again. Now, Larry is not the biggest fan of battling, but he does put up a really good challenge, as he is using normal type Pokemon, which, I'm gonna be honest, are some of the hardest Pokemon to deal with sometimes. They're just really hard to figure out, and sometimes they can be really, really strong. So we do struggle a little bit in this battle, especially against the brand new Dunsparce evolution, Dunsparce. I'm gonna be honest, that thing is awful to deal with. However, at the end, he has, of course, his regular Staraptor, and this time around, we defeat it and we get ourselves another gym badge. Then we are requested to battle Nemona in the presence of Geta, the actual leader of the Pokemon League in this region. So Nemona starts off with a Lycanroc. We go with Masquerada on the Flower Trick, and that is a one-hit KO. Next up is going to be Goomy. This is pretty much the same here. We go for Bite, and eventually we get rid of it too, leaving only 2 more Pokemon in her team. The first one is going to be Palmy, which we one-hit KO with Flower Trick, which is honestly such a great move. And finally, we have her last Pokemon, which is the final evolution of Quaxly, and we one-hit KO this thing even before it has the ability to use any of its terrestrialized moves. So yeah, we defeat Nemona, and now we gotta go and find the next gyms and challenges that await us. On our way to get to the Psychic type gym, we also run into and catch ourselves a Toxtricity, as well as a Terra Wild Houndoom, and Houndoom ended up being a big bonus for our team, and it was really useful. And so we made it to Alfrenada. Now this is where the Psychic type gym is located. So we head towards the gym building, and we run into Mr. Jacques, who gives us a lucky egg. Then we take on the gym test, which is Simon Says, and we pass that very quickly. And now it's time to take on the gym leader, who's going to be Tulip. Now, Tulip is the gym leader of the Psychic type gym. She has a Faragirif first up, but we use Meowscarada, who is terrestrialized into its grass typing, and we use Flower Trick 2 times, which is more than enough to defeat the Faragirif. The next Pokemon she has, however, after the Faragirif, is a Gardevoir, which we also get in almost a one-hit KO. However, we had to hit him twice with Flower Trick, and that did the job. So Gardevoir is out. The next Pokemon is Espratha, which is a brand new Pokemon that's a ostrich and also based on a kind of Cleopatra sort of design, if you guys can tell that. But yeah, that's what we got right there. We get it with a one-hit KO, which I did not expect would happen, but it did. And the final Pokemon that she has is going to be a Florges, but it's also terrestrialized to be a Psychic type, which, you know, normally it wouldn't be. So that's exactly what we have to go up against. So I use Mr. Dog, aka our Houndoom, with Flamethrower, and we get hit with a Moonblast, which does do a decent amount of damage to us. However, we do have Sucker Punch, so I go for the Sucker Punch as our final move, which is more than enough to defeat the Florges. And ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves another gym badge. That is another one done, only a few more to go. Next up, we find the base of the Poison Crew with specifically Atticus, and we decide to battle him and take him on. So, Atticus's team is going to be, well, poisonous if you haven't already noticed. So we go for the U-turn against the Skuntank that he has, using our Meowscarada, and switch into Gabite. Now, Gabite has Bulldoze, so we get the Skuntank deleted in one hit. Then he also has a Revavroom, like a literal Revavroom, not just the modified version, but we get a one-hit KO on that one that is super effective, and that one is gone. Next up, however, is Muck. We get Bulldoze off, which does a lot of damage, but unfortunately, Gabite was low at this point from taking damage, and I think even being poisoned at one point. I could be wrong though, but we did get poisoned, we did get destroyed, and so our guy is gone. So we switch into Low Kicks, which deletes the Muck, and next up is the Revavroom itself. And after a lot of time, a lot of hits, eventually, using Meowscarada, we get the final defeat against them right there. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we defeated another one of the team bosses. Of course, Atticus, I would be honest and say, was the most difficult one that I ran up against up until this point, but we have his badge, so now we can move on. And yes, that's exactly what we do. We go looking for the next legendary, actually the final Titan. But before that, we find a little cute Tatsugiri, which is a little sushi Pokemon. Also, we go ahead and capture ourselves a new Gyarados. So yes, we got ourselves a full-on Gyarados instead of our existing Magikarp. But yeah, it's awesome. It's really strong as well, by the way. Now, figuring this Titan out was actually the most difficult one. I had the biggest struggle, the biggest confusion trying to find it, but eventually I realized I had to interact with this little sushi Pokemon, and then this lad would show up and he would literally eat the little sushi Pokemon. And yeah, it was a bit disturbing, but here we have to battle him, and it just takes a few flower tricks before he is deleted and defeated, but he then goes over and looks for his Herba Mystica, so we have to battle him twice again with Arvin, and after doing this, we have defeated him, and now we have the ability to climb on anything. Yes, we can use our Koraidon now to climb on top of anything we want to, which is fantastic. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we are also told by Professor Sada to head back to the original place we were at where we actually found Koraidon, because there her lab is located and Arvin can enter it, and also now his little doggy is feeling a lot better. But we gotta go there to pick up some sort of book, and that's sort of what we have to do next. So, back at the professor's lab, we interact and talk to her, and she tells us that we need to bring the Scarlet Book with us and head into Area 0. Now, that's the middle part of the map, the middle area, which is inaccessible in the beginning of the game until you, well, finish this path, until you finish the Path of Legends. So, after the conversation, then Arvin requests us to battle him to prove that we are worthy to be strong enough to go down into Area 0. But before doing any of that, we want to finish some other aspects of the game. So we're going to return to this story a bit later. Instead, we head up into the mountains because we have 2 more gyms to go, ladies and gentlemen. And one of these is going to be Grusha's gym. And this gym in particular is a difficult one because first we have to battle Nemona. And her team, well, it's the same team we've always seen her use. So it's not going to be too difficult to sweep through her Pomo, her, Lycanroc, and everything, as well as her Quaxwell. So yeah, we can just go through them in no time, defeat them, and that's it. But now it's time to take on Grusha. So Grusha's gym, first of all, has a gym test that we have to do. Now, this gym test is a slight bit different than what we're used to. This one actually has us sliding down a hill, more or less like snowboarding our way down, and that's exactly what we're doing. So skiing, snowboarding our way down till the end with, of course, Koraidon, because, well, it goes faster like that, and of course, it's the only thing that makes sense. So after we've done this, ladies and gentlemen, reached all the way to the bottom, the gym test is done, and we can now go back and take on the gym. And yeah, Grusha's got some interesting ice-type Pokemon. First up is Frostmoth, then there is a Beartick, which we one-hit KO all of them, and of course, there is also Titan. However, we can't use Houndoom against all of that, and we'll have to use, Low Kicks instead, which, yeah, after a while, we defeat mostly all the Pokemon, with Altaria being Grusha's final Pokemon. So, yeah, we go in with, Meowscarada again, because it is one of our strongest Pokemon, and defeat this one as well. So there it is, Grusha's badge. The Glaciado City Gym is done as well. Then we run into some of the Elite Four who are interacting with us before we head right down to take on the final gym, which is also the Ghost-type gym. The test here is very simple. We simply have to double battle a bunch of people, and the last person we battle is this sketchy guy called MC Sledge. So it's just a double battle against his whole team. He's got a Drifloon and, of course, a Sableye as well, since it is a Ghost-type gym, so it makes total sense. And, yeah, he's the last person you take on in this case, so it doesn't really take too long to defeat him. Once you've done it, you're done with that, and now you can take on the actual gym leader. Now, this one is called Rhyme, and it makes sense because, well, she's a rapper, more or less. And she's got a Banette as well as a brand new Pokemon. We've got Houndstone, which is, well, the evolution of Gravier, or I think that's what it's called. Nonetheless, though, it is all ghost types, so we do sweep through them very quickly, with the last Pokemon she has being Toxtricity, and of course the Mimikyu will get rid of that too. Now, Toxtricity, she does end up terrestrializing that one too, and yeah, she's really hyping up all these ghost types, I'm not gonna lie. But eventually, once she's terrestrialized it, we do have the easy time of just one-hit KOing it, and there it is. We got ourselves another gym badge, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be our final gym badge, actually. And there it is, the Montevera gym has been defeated. So now we're able to talk to Nemona as well as Geta, who is the league champion, who we're going to be talking about, when we're going to go and take on the final, challenge, which is the Elite Four. But before that, we go and take on this lad right here, who is a person that stands right outside the Fairy Crew. So this is one of the last few evil teams left. So we go through and attack their base as well. As per usual, we have to go through and defeat 30 of these Pokemon that they have inside, and this is exactly what we end up doing. There is loads of them, and also inside of these bases, we can actually go to these vending machines to heal up your whole team in case they get too low HP. But either way, we finish that off, and now it's time to take on the leader themselves. And this is going to be none else than Ortega. Now, Ortega is a fairy, well, I won't say gym leader, but it's a fairy boss, right? So a fairy crew boss who starts with an Azumarill, but we do have Meowscarada out first, so that's perfect. We want a KO. Then we also get Wigglytuff with Meowscarada as well, which are easy peasy lemon squeezy. However, they do also have another Pokemon here in this case, which is going to be a little bit more different. However, it's a brand new one. It's Dashbun, which I guess is a mix of Dachshund as well as a Bun, right? Because it's a Bun dog. Finally, there is, of course, Rushbach, the Star Mobile. So this is the final Pokemon that this person is going to be using. We're using Flying Carp in this case because, well, Flying Carp is more or less our strongest Pokemon, I would argue. Even stronger than Meowscarada in a lot of cases. But eventually, we get that Ice Fang off, and the Rushbach Starmobile is gone, which means we have defeated the penultimate, right? The penultimate crew, which means there's one more to go. But yeah, we got ourselves another victory, which means we get the badge for completing this challenge. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we just have one more left to go. Just literally one more evil crew to go. But before any of that, we find a wild Terra Sylveon. And of course, since it has the fairy typing, we're going to be going for it, as we will be using that later on. So we capture it and add it to our team. But yeah, as for its name, we do call it Chad. Then we head to the Northern Province, which is in Area 1, and this is then Area 2, Northern Province, so we're kind of sliding between them. This area has loads of bug types, so if you're looking for bug type Pokemon, I would highly recommend to come to this area, as there will be loads of them for you to explore and capture in general. But we do also find ourselves some extra Pokemon in this zone. This is kind of where we find ourselves a free Pawniard, as well as other Pokemon such as Luxray that we add to our team. And Luxray we call Mr. Kittens because, yes, there is actually a cat in my neighborhood who keeps coming over to our house, and we've nicknamed him Mr. Kittens. We also capture an Arcanine, and this I do like a day later, which I decide, you know what, it is what it is. Might as well continue. So yeah, we catch ourselves an Arcanine added to our team. And now, ladies and gents, we're going to take on the final base. Now, this base has, well, the Fight Crew, and it's Airy. Now, Airy has herself a Toxicroak, which we eventually do defeat. It does take a while, I'm not going to lie. And then we also have a Passimian, which instead of actually going for it straight away, we actually use Dragon Dance first on Flying Carp, and then we Waterfall the Passimian, which is great because that helps us have a lot more damage against this Annihilate, which is a brand new evolution of Primeape, ladies and gentlemen. But eventually, it hits us with one of its brand new moves, Rage Fist, I think, and we just Waterfall it, and there it is. The Annihilate is gone, leaving the Starmobile, or the Calf Starmobile, as the final thing to be defeated with our Meowscarada. And there it is, ladies and gents. We've defeated the final evil team boss. Well, there it is. We defeated them. We got the final badge, which means we can now finish up that story. We talked to Clive, who's been here just kind of giving us stuff along the way, and Cassiopeia, who sent us on this mission, who's telling us that we need to meet up. We need to, disband the team. And to do that, we got to go back to the school to meet up with Cassiopeia. But first, we run into Clive at the school, and then Clive reveals to us who he actually is, which is, of course, going to be none else than, Director Clavel. We already kind of knew it was going to be Director Clavel the whole time. I mean, literally looked like him, and it was kind of obvious the whole time, but we actually battle him. He has an Oranguru, so we go straight in with our boys. We defeat it. We also have a Gyarados up against us. We go with our, kind of like a little bit of a mix of Pokemon in this battle. It was actually a really rough battle, I'm not going to lie. very difficult, but the Gyarados was a difficult one especially, so we switched into Meowscarada. Abomasnow we hit with our boy Arcanine, who doesn't do enough in this case. Also, we called our Arcanine Leon Lost because Leon did lose. Ash is superior, we all know that. He's just a better trainer. And then we have the final Pokemon of this team, was this going to be Skeledirge. Now, this is the final stage evolution of Fuecoco, so if you didn't already know that, now you know. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking it on and trying to finish it off in this battle right here. Of course, this thing is, typing-wise was actually superior to our Meowscarada, so we switch over into our Gyarados, the Flying Carp, and we hit it one time with Waterfall, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We defeated, the Director. Director Clavel is now defeated, which means we can go and take on the real boss of Team Star, who's going to be none else than, of course, Penny. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, you guys kind of already probably saw this coming, but Penny is the evil team boss leader. She's the leader of Team Star, and she started it because of kids bullying each other in school, and she created Team Star to help the kids that were being bullied. So we take on her whole team of evolutions. That's all she has in her team. It's just loads of evolutions. First up is the Umbreon, which we defeat using our good friend Leon Lost here, which is our Arcanine. Then there is also a Vaporeon, so we go into Meowscarada and just use, our brand new move, as well as U-turn at the end there to switch into our Sylveon. But then we, double switch back into Flareon because, we switch because of the Flareon into our Flying Carp, with as well King, our Slack King, doing the work and doing some damage. And then there you have a Leafeon. And finally, I think in this case, there is going to be none else than a Sylveon up against us. And we use our Sylveon as well because it only made sense, right? If we're going to be battling Sylveon v Sylveon, we might as well go all out for it. However, our Sylveon doesn't handle it, and we go into Meowscarada instead, which is, fine, and we finish it off with Flying Carp. And there it is. We've defeated the evil team. But now, all these guys have to disband the team. However, instead, Director Clavel actually asks them to do some community service and create like a training camp, sort of, with the method that they were using at the bases where you had to raid them, as it seems like a good method for people to actually train their teams, which is kind of a cool idea. So we'll see if that ever develops into the future and if there is anything further from that. But after doing this, we get Draco Meteor, and ladies and gentlemen, we've now completed this journey. We've completed the Star Crew journey. So Starfall Street is over, ladies and gentlemen. We completed it. It took us a while, but it is done. So it's time to take on the final challenge, which is going to be the Elite Four. Now, first up, we have to do a few questions right here with one of the Elite Fours. Rika is asking us a million different questions, so you got to understand what you are doing in this case to be able to pass through it. Now, once we've done that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take on the first Elite Four, which is going to be Rika themselves. So Rika is taking us on with a Wish Cash, which we one hit. Then we also have another Pokemon getting one hit, which is going to be the Counter Up using our boy Flying Carp. So yeah, same thing goes for the Dunfan. Mostly all the Pokemon in this case early on in this battle were able to one-hit KO because of their typing being mismatched against our Flying Carp. Then, however, there is Clodsire, which is a brand new Pokemon and the evolution for the Paldean Wooper. So this is a brand new Evo, and he's going to be terrestrialized. However, that's not a problem for us, as we are going to be defeating it after a few hits. We do get Toxic on us, which is a little bit annoying, but that doesn't really matter because eventually it does end up dying and we get to victory. So that's our first Elite Four member down. Now we have Puppy, who's a user of Steel-type Pokemon. Now, Puppy was actually kind of a difficult one, I'm not going to lie. Kaparaja is up first, so we do get Stealth Rocks onto us as well, which is annoying because now every time we switch in, we're going to be dealing with damage non-stop. However, our boy Leon Lost, aka Arcanine, is doing a lot of work and defeats about 3 of the first Pokemon on its own. Like Corviknight is out, Kaparaja is out, even Magnezone cannot handle the heat that we are bringing with our boy right here. I mean, it does put up a light screen, which is a little bit annoying as it's going to lower our special moves, especially our Flamethrower. So I go for Flame Wheel instead, just in case, even though, let's be real, we would have probably killed it anyways with the Flamethrower, but still it was worthwhile to just do that little switch. However, Tinkaton, which is the final Pokemon that is going to be used right here, is a crazy one. It's a Fairy Steel type as far as I remember, but we do get it eventually with the help of King and a Brick Break, and that's it. We've defeated another one of the Elite Four. The next one, though, the third Elite Four, was a shock to me. It is Larry, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this is the gym leader from the normal type gym that we took on earlier in the game, but now he's switched over and he's been forced by the boss to take and use a different typing, which is going to be Flying type. So we defeat the first 2 Pokemon by Dragon Dancing on Flying Carp, and we're able to take out even the third one, the Altaria, so we sweep through them more or less. However, the Oricorio is a bit annoying with the Revelation Dance and does take us out, so we switch into Meowscarada, and eventually the victory is ours, with his final ace Pokemon being Flamigo, which he also terrestrializes into using a Flying type move. But eventually, with the help of Rock Slide, we take it out, and ladies and gentlemen, there is only one man left. It is Hassel, a Elite Four that we met already early in the game. He kicks things off with a Noivern. We are going to be Dragon Dancing and then going for the Ice Fang, which is going to do a very spicy amount of damage because it does hit the one-hit KO. Dragalge almost gets taken out in the same way. However, it has Thunderbolt, which I did not expect, and that destroys Flying Carp. So we switch over into Chad, our little Sylveon. We Calm Mind and then Moonblast the Dragalge back to the ocean, and that's exactly what we needed to do. Then we have a Haxorus, which we defeat using our boy Flying Carp. And same thing goes for the Flapple. Afterwards, we are done with them. So there's only one more Pokemon left, and it's going to be a brand new one. Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur is a brand new pseudo-legendary in the game, and it looks really sick, but we one-hit KO it using Outrage, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The last Elite Four is deleted, which means now, ladies and gents, we can take on the champion, the league champion that rules this whole place. But Hassel gets a bit emotional from us winning, which is kind of adorable. But now it's time to take on the final boss, which is going to be, obviously, Geta. And you guys already know Geta is because we run into Geta earlier. And now Geta kicks off with a brand new Pokemon, Espathra. So Espathra is a brand new Pokemon that we've already seen. It's, as I mentioned, a Cleopatra mixed with a Ostrich, so it's kind of a weird combo. However, that's done. There's also an Abalug, which we one-hit KO. King Gambit as well comes out, and it does end up taking out our boy here, so unfortunately Leon lost, kind of loses. So we go into King as we go with the Brick Break. It does take out King Gambit, which is a brand new Evo, by the way, for, of course, Bisharp. Then there is a Go-Goat, which we also defeat very quickly using our boy King. However, our Sylveon cannot handle the heat from this fish, so we do have to switch out, but that doesn't really matter because the poison does come in and defeat it at the end right there, which means, well, ladies and gentlemen, there should be about one more Pokemon left, and it's going to be this thing right here. Now, this is a brand new Pokemon that we've yet to run into, and it's one that was actually leaked a long time ago. It's Glimora, but it doesn't really matter. We defeat that one too after using our boy right here. King does the work, and it is gone. And ladies and gentlemen, we now are officially ranked as champion, but that's not the end. Before we can finish the victory road, we have to battle our rival Nemona. So yeah, to finish off the actual game, to finish off this journey, we have to battle her, and this is actually a really beautiful moment. I'm not gonna lie, this battle and this animation here is really cinematic and cool, and it just made the whole battle feel a bit more special. So here we go. Starting things off, she has a Lycanroc. We're going to be Dragon Dancing with our boy to make sure we are a lot stronger and faster. Afterwards, we defeat the Lycanroc using a single waterfall. Then she has an interesting set of Pokemon. Their first one is Palmot. Now, Palmot is an electric type, so it does end up deleting our boy Flying Carp, so that's not really the best of situations. We switch into Meowscarada and make sure that we go for a few of our hits right there, and it does do enough to take out the Palmot, which is, I think, also the final stage evolution in this case. Giga Impact is enough to take out her Goodra, which was a big worry for me as I was scared how I'm going to handle it, but there you go. The Giga Impact's all we needed. Then there is Earthworm, which is a brand new Pokemon as well that we already dealt with earlier as a Titan, but a Brick Break or two, and it is gone as well, leaving only two more Pokemon. First up is Dunsparce, which is the evolution of Dunsparce that's been added into Generation 9. We get rid of that one too, using our good friend here with Flower Trick, and the final Pokemon, of course, is going to be none else than Quavalval, and we're going to be defeating that with a single one-hit KO from Flower Trick. And ladies and gentlemen, we've defeated Nemona. Our final battle against her ends up being an epic one, and honestly, a beautiful moment. I'm going to be honest, this game so far has been a freaking joy, and I thought this was going to be it. I thought this was the end, but then I remembered, wait a minute. Okay, we've defeated Nemona, but what's next? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we finished the victory road, but we still have to deal with someone else. We may have forgotten about it, but Arvin is still in the game, so we're going to have to head over to Arvin and deal with his team and take on and finish that journey as well. And that's exactly what we do. Now, Arvin's team, I'm not going to lie, is a pretty spicy one. First up, he's got himself a Gradent, which we end up defeating using Waterfall on Flying Carp. Then he also has a Gargonicle, which is a brand new Pokemon that's been added. It looks like a Minecraft thing. Then there's also the brand new Toxic or Toxicrool, I guess is what it's called, which is a kind of a fake version or a new version of Tentacruel and them Pokemon, but they're a bit changed now. It's a bit odd. Like, they're kind of these fake regional fakes, if you want to call them that. Either way, afterwards, there is a Cloyster that makes our life a little bit miserable, so we switch into Mr. Kittens, who does a lot of work. We also have a Maboostif, which is his ace Pokemon, and that one has been terrestrialized into a Dark type, which it already kind of is, but we defeat it using our good friend with chat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can go to Area 0. Now, this is where the seemingly kind of like a post-game or the final part of the story takes place. It's not even fully post-game, but this is where the final part of the story is about to take place. So, we head over to Area 0, where we got to go down to the bottom. And we've been already asked to go here by the Professor Sada. But we also come and take on the way home. So, as we enter the base, we do uncover a few people inside of there. It's going to be specifically Nimona and, of course, also Penny. She came over to help us out as she is a good hacker. She's going to be helping us out to figure out some of these machines. Now, what is our journey? Well, we have to go inside of the bases downstairs into Area 0, the bottom of this map, literally the ground zero of this game. We have to go down to the lower chamber, and we have to turn off 4 different bases. But to get there, we need to use Koraidon and fly all our way to the bottom. So that's exactly what we do together with our pals. So we make it all the way down to the bottom, flying on top of Koraidon now. Unfortunately, Koraidon does not seem to want to hang out with us and wants to stay in its Pokeball. So we are kind of stuck having to walk around here. And there's loads of Pokemon here that are higher level and that we have yet to uncover before. So these are brand new Pokemon, and this game genuinely looks amazing. I mean, look at this view. It's probably the most beautiful Pokemon game we've ever actually had. Now we reach the first research facility or base, and outside of it, we run into a wild Pokemon. It's specifically a Glimora, which is a Pokemon we just dealt with, so we take it on and defeat it in no time. And now, ladies and gents, we can actually enter inside this research facility and turn off the security systems. There's 4 security systems that we gotta turn off before we get to the bottom, and the first one is right here. So after we've done that, we can now head out and take on the next one. So we go outside, we run around a little bit, and like I said, loads of really unique and cool Pokemon in this zone, so we're going to be running into a lot of those. Now we get to the second research facility, and we run into what seems to be a Jigglypuff, but turns out to be an ancient Jigglypuff known as Screamtail. And this is told to us by Sada as being a Pokemon that's time traveled here. Yes, because Sada built a time machine using the crystals from terrestrialization. So we now know what that is all about. Also, we run into a Volcarona, which we capture to ourselves, as I am a big fan of Volcarona. It's one of my favorite Pokemon, so I added into my team. And then we run into our third base challenge, which is going to be the Great Tusk. We brick bake it a few times, and eventually, with the help of Arvin, we defeat it. And we turn off another one of the bases, which means 3 of them have been turned off, and only 1 has got to go. So we go into the bottom part, into the lowest section of the base. However, this final research facility looks really broken. It looks crazy, like something exploded in here. And it looks like Professor Sada's going crazy. She keeps yelling, "I'm sorry," and "children, children, children." It's very strange. Either way, once we've done that and we've been in the base, we turned it off, we go to the bottom and we enter Area 0, the Zero Base, the bottom research facility, which is at the core of the Paldea region. All of a sudden, we notice there is a Koraidon looking over us, and this is another Koraidon. This is the one that made our Koraidon scared, because this is the Alpha Koraidon. This is the one that's superior. All of a sudden, the base opens up, and a lot of time-traveled Pokemon run out and attack us. We deal with them very quickly, and after dealing with this Fluttermane right here, which is an ancient form of Mischievous, after we've done that, we can now enter inside of the Zero Base, and that's exactly what we do. But we go on our own, as our teammates, our friends, I guess, are staying behind and dealing with some other stuff. Now, once we're inside of here, we uncover the big secret. The big secret is that Professor Sada, well, isn't really Professor Sada. It turns out that Professor Sada is actually a robot. Yes, this whole time, Professor Sada has been a literal AI. This is a robot, and the reason for this, as told to us, is because the original Professor Sada, the real Professor Sada, actually died. She died when an incident occurred at the 4th research station, which is why it was so broken down. And now we have to go down and turn off the time machine before everything goes to shit. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But Professor Sada tells us that we need to use the Scarlet Book, put it inside the machine, and it will turn off the time machine. However, if we do that, her programming, the AI programming that she has, will stop us. It will stop us. It will get in the way because it has Professor Sada's ambition and dreams encoded inside of it. So this robot in front of us is going to try to stop us even if she knows that it is wrong. That's why the robot has been trying to get us all to come down here and deactivate this time machine before these Pokemon run into the upper world that will ruin the ecosystem. So now we're going to battle Professor Sada and her team. And this is not really a regular Professor Sada. This is a straight up robot, a killing machine. This moment in the game was actually so freaking epic, and I'm gonna be honest, like, there are Pokemon moments that can be a bit cringy and stuff, but I actually liked where this story went and how this all turned out. And even this animation right here we just get the Pokeball thrown down at us with a literal monster coming out, Slitherwing, which is the ancient form of Volcarona. And so we have to battle through this whole team of hers, which is just filled with a bunch of ancient Pokemon. Slitherwing is the first one. After defeating that, there is more to come, ladies and gents. We have Fluttermane next, which is the, ancient form of course, Misdreavus. Then there is afterwards, after we defeat this one, which takes a bit of time, if I'm going to be frankly honest, we have another Pokemon coming out, which is going to be Sandy Shocks. This is a ancient form of Magnemite, or Magneton. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's just a form. Then we also have Screamtail again, which we already dealt with earlier. This one is a bit more difficult. I'm going to be honest, its typing is a bit annoying to deal with, but after a few more hits from our boy Leon Lost, we get it. And then there is the Bonette, which is the Among Us new form that also exists, leaving us with only one more Pokemon to go, which is going to be Roaring Moon, which is a brand new form of Salamence. Yes, it looks so freaking cool. We do defeat it eventually, and our friends run inside the base to try to help us solve this situation. But it turns out that Professor Sada still has a final protocol, a protocol to save Paradise, the Protection Protocol, which ends up making her use the Alpha Koraidon. Now, in the process of this happening, she actually locks off all of our other Pokemon. Her system actually blocks all our other Pokeballs from being used, so we have to use our own Koraidon, who finally decides to do something. And in this moment, we end up going in with our own Battle Form Koraidon, and we take on the Alpha Koraidon. And it doesn't really work out well for us until we terrestrialize towards the end. And that's when we're able to actually defeat the Koraidon that's guarding Paradise. And eventually, after Terra Blasting it, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We're about to defeat it, and we're about to destroy Paradise and destroy the protocol that's protecting the time machine. And once the time machine is broken, then no more of these ancient Pokemon will seep into our current time and break the world that's in front of us. So that's exactly what happens. We defeat the AI Sada, and we have also destroyed the Paradise Protection Protocol. And we've also reached the end of the game. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where Professor Sada takes her leave, and we have finished our journey in the Paldea region for now. We finished the base game, we finished the general stuff, we've explored a lot, we've made friends, we've made enemies too. But ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our journey, and this is where we roll the credits, because yeah, our journey in this region is done. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then drop a like down below, make sure to subscribe for more, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Have a great day.